feels like RA do that themselves, and now we're just waiting on RA's first pick. Do you go for something that can facilitate for Leyan, or do you go for something that's going to be lane dominant like we wanted them to get?
I was highly expecting the Viego pick to come through here. He's been left open. He's insanely strong. And also some key picks, especially for Suning. SofM's Lee Sin is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see this locked in. I mean, they get that flexibility. Like, Angel's played it, Bin has played it, but it primarily does go to SofM, and he's been absolutely loving it. So, especially when you got this aphelios lock in, maybe they go towards like a Viego Lee Sin lock in, keep that flexibility open, and the opportunity to play so many other picks. Also, Thresh being up and available could be a pick away here for On to stop this Thresh aphelios combo.
That's what's crazy to me, is that it's still available. Thresh is actually making it through the aphelios lock-in. Typically, you know what's coming next. You know that this combo is so deadly, but they get the range advantage. They get what we saw last series with the Ezreal over the aphelios, and RA pick up the Zhao, as well as that Thresh.
And there's the Thresh. Yeah, and I mean, now you're kind of going, okay, Suning, what's the plan here? Do you want to fully opt out of the lane phase, take something like the Braum here, or do you want to try and get something for Angel in this mid lane? Like, there is always the opportunity to take something like the Rise, like a Galio, or even the Silas that he's been practicing like crazy in solo queue, and then ban away some of the counters, especially when you've already got LeBlanc taken off the board.
Looks like we're going to be looking at the support pool potentially here for Suning. Get a little bit of safety, at least for the Ezreal. It will be the Braum locked in for them, so a lot of strength in that pick, as well as what it can do for the rest of the team, right? The setups that you can have, the engages, but as well as, you know, the passive stacks coming through can be super huge for the target selection. But that also means your target selection has to be on point for everybody involved, as we are getting into the second pick, or ban phase rather, I guess, and pick phase. The Silas is the ban away by Suning.
And you can tell they're already thinking, hey, look, you know, we've actually banned away the LeBlanc potential for the Silas to come through if RA start to ban away some of these mid laners as well. But it looks like, at least from Suning's point of view, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Akali ban come through as well. Has been picked off. It's been one of FoFo's mainstay champions. Maybe the Zoe as well, because Suning may decide, hey, look, we want to go in towards this more range-orientated composition with Bin maybe taking something like Jace as a blind pickable top laner here for himself as well.
See how this last little bit does pan out. We still have very crucial pieces, but this time around ADCs picked early means that we'll get some solo lane shenanigans in the second phase, as the Orianna is banned away by Suning, joining the Silas and the Aurelia so far in the second phase.
Yeah, one of the things that we haven't seen from RA has been this like Lulu Xinjiao mid lane. A lot of other teams have picked it up, but they do prefer to traditionally have FoFo on some sort of carry. So Suning going, hey, look, well, the carry that kind of suits that style is the Orianna, so they take that off the board. RA ban away the Rise, which we'd already highlighted that this was a pick that Angel has gone towards as like a blind pickable mid laner. So honestly, it feels like to me right now, the big picks are like a Lee Sin, where you could flex that to SofM in the jungle. Maybe you go towards the Jace in the top lane, you give the Viego to SofM in the jungle. Like, there's a good amount of flexibility still here. Or maybe they just decide to take a pick for Angel here.
Yeah, or, you know, get the pick you were looking for in the beginning. You got SofM maybe picking up this Lee Sin. A little flexibility there. Gotta appreciate that going on for Suning, at least, making RA think a second. But you still have some very meta picks left on the table, because we've had a little bit different of bans, at least, across the board for both these teams, which means that the Gwen is immediately picked up by RA in the second phase.
I would love to see a Jace pick for Suning to counteract that. You already have that flexibility that we just discussed. You can send this Lee Sin mid, Viego jungle, Lee Sin jungle, Viego mid. Although with with FoFo hovering this Azir potentially in the mid lane, maybe you don't want to put the Viego in that mid lane, because that range makes it really difficult to try and manage. And one of the things that Viego got hit on was his ability to heal in the lane, but it doesn't matter. We are going to get the Akali, so I think you take Jace here, or the Kennen. Actually, maybe Kennen is even better, but then you just flex Lee Sin jungle, Viego goes mid against this Akali, and you have such a strong combo, especially if it's Kennen. Like, everyone on RA is such short range. You get so much value from this Kennen ultimate.
Yeah, you definitely could, but I you know, Suning needing to decide that here with their last pick, and I think that this Okay, we get the Zach coming in. Nothing that you said. You might as well throw those notes back out of the window, Dagda, as we get the Zach coming in here for Suning.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the Zach pick. So we've usually seen Sejuani and Zac into picks like Diana. Because you're kind of looking at it going, okay, this is not a champion that can get aggressive, can do well in early skirmishes, is not going to have a lot of pressure to invade in on top of me. Xin Zhao is not that pick. Xin Zhao really does have a lot of power in these early stages and can interrupt a lot of what Zac wants to do, right? Because Zac tries to wind up the elastic slingshot, he can audacious charge, get that three-talent strike to knock him up, and then you lose the ability to get away from that. So certainly I think for Leyan, he has the ability to get in here and disrupt a lot of the early jungle pressure from SofM. The only concern that I have is that mid lane. The priority definitely in favor of the Lee Sin. He does really well, especially when he gets to level 3. He's even able to like sit in the middle of the shroud, slam his fist down and spot it where the Akali is. Like there's a lot that you can do here. So unfortunately, it feels like Leyan will have his work cut out for him to try and get a lot of these invades off just because of the lane priorities.
And on the other side, I feel like you're really set up for Suning to get the advantages they want to have, right? To be able to help out SofM as he's making these early paths and finding those early skirmishes. So this game is going to be very interesting to set us up for this best of 3, because this, I feel like, means a lot in the terms of the little mini meta that we're going to have develop, right? We had some very interesting bans coming across the board, some picks coming through here like the Zac, and very meta picks like the Lee Sin, the Akali, the Gwen, the Viego. Does that change as we get further on? It's a big question, but this entire first game heavily relies on where these teams find their win conditions, where these junglers are looking to press up in their differing fashions of jungle. As we get the walk across the rift, the beautiful LPL flags take place, and Summoner's Rift is alive and well again. RA versus Suning, first game of the best of 3.
And it feels like Suning have gone towards, at least at the moment, a traditional Suning style of composition. We're not getting, unfortunately, the things like the Twisted Faith and that can roam around, but it is very much a composition that can be played towards that top half of the map, played towards Bin, enabling this Viego. And I wouldn't be surprised to see SofM starting on this bottom side, starting to scoot his way up and trying to influence this top lane matchup, because it is very back and forth. If you get an early lead as either of these champions, it becomes incredibly difficult for the other to survive.
And that's what I love about these kinds of matchups right now in the meta itself, is like there are matchups where it's completely topsy-turvy. Somebody gets ahead, yes, it's a slam, but it's whoever gets ahead, right? It's not just the one category here for the top laners. Hung some trouble here, has the Winter's Bite procced onto him and taken a ton of damage from Huanfeng on those mystic shots, and this is just level 1.
Yeah, nice job. Like, a lot of people kind of underestimate the level 1 from an Ezreal because he's like, oh, well, you know, he builds tier. He doesn't do a huge amount of damage. Well, you're going for a longsword 3-pot. You got a Braum beside you. You quickly stack those concussive blows, and you can see the results there. Hung sent a pack and already burning through both of his pots on this bottom side.
Bit unfortunate early on. I want to take a little peek into these jungle matchups here. SofM and Leyan both start on the bot side of the map, pathing up towards the top. But it's going to be a little bit quicker on the movements for Leyan as he's, getting the red side start first instead of the double clear. But SofM is going to be right alongside him. And I wonder, do we see this skirmishing happen over the scuttle, or do we see a lane opportunity come through for either one of these?
I think the big question here is going to be looking towards Angel, right? Because you can already see he shoved in mid, taking the level 2, to make sure he can continue this push in the mid. And it means he should be able to facilitate that move topside here alongside SofM towards the scuttle. Same with Bin. But we'll have to see if the RA tried to collapse or try to make some funny movements. I just don't think the lanes are in their places to try and facilitate that.
And looking for top lane. There's the focus, but it's for Cube, not Ben. He's going to have to flash away. It was very close to RA picking up first blood.
And that's one of the benefits of this quicker clear from Leyan, right? You're able to just match the pace of SofM, but get towards that top side quicker, look for that early gank. Now a flash blown, Bin has to be a little bit more careful, but Angel roaming from this mid lane means SofM will guarantee himself one of these scuttle crabs.
And that's what we wanted to see from Suning. We need to see them facilitating SofM, moving around the map, being able to help him out in these kinds of pressure moments. And on the other side, Leyan helping the lanes, right? And that sometimes does mean giving up some of those skirmishes, going for other things that can enable your other lanes, and he's going for the scuttle on bot side while an invade comes through from SofM.
Yeah, nice job from SofM, honestly, just picking up this Gromp on the top side of the map, making sure that he can at least like take those camps for himself, because Leyan had to pat bot to get himself his own scuttle. So just kind of smarter clearing coming through from SofM and reading Leyan really well.
I just checked into the CS differential. This is a decent CS differential for Ben, already developing up there, even though he was ganked early. We'll have to keep a check-in on that later on. But I also want to do a check-in on this bot lane. iBoy and Hung have had complete pressure this entire time, it feels like, after that early skirmish we had.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way the matchup goes. Aphelios actually quite strong when it comes towards push.
Yeah,
Ezreal, not so much, let's just say.
What are you
this
talking
is kind
about?
of the downside.
A mystic shot every 3 seconds doesn't clear the wave? What?
Yeah,
No way.
that single target damage is just not that good. Who would have saw it coming? But it does mean, again, like, this is kind of what we're talking about, is like, yes, you've got the push on bot side for RA. Maybe Leyan can get some invades off, but FoFo not having control as...
Oh my god, that's going to be a lot of damage. Angel just pressing up this mid lane continuously against FoFo. And level 6 isn't even achieved just yet, and he's going to continue to press up this wave.
You know, you will be able to TP back in as FoFo, so won't lose out on too many minions or anything like that, but you're seeing exactly what we're talking about. You cannot contest the wave here as FoFo, which means Leyan can actually try and go for those invades on towards the Zac, and Zac actually coming out with a nice little bit of an advantage because Leyan tried to go for this early play top, didn't get anything out of it, well, got the flash out of it, but actually set himself behind on the clear, which SofM was able to answer for.
We did see Hung hanging out in mid lane, not going to find it after TP came in from FoFo. Thought maybe they were going to try to stay to punish Angel. He still has flash and is very mobile as the Lee Sin, so it's very hard to even get the lockdown on him in general. And if you don't have the burst, then all is said and done in that moment, right? So I want to look to see how these roam timers come down for both of these supports rather, as On is now on his roam timer, but we're getting the 1v1 in top lane. Heartbreaker used out as a defensive measure by Ben.
Oh, Leyan's been spotted though by SofM. Both very low though. SofM has the level advantage, but he's just going to back away. And yeah, I agree. I think like we're going to see a little bit of pressure continue here from RA up towards this top side. The question mark for me though is like, well, I suppose not really question mark. I already know it. This is going to be a slow-paced game as hell, all right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sorry for everyone. We're looking at the teams that are placed 14th and 13th when it comes to kills at 15. They're not exactly the quickest, bloodiest teams that we have in the league. But what I want to see is like the objective focus from both these squads. Because certainly when we look towards RA, they have like the second highest Rift Arrow control, their third highest for Dragon control, and you can already see them starting to set up for this, right? They're looking now to get this scuttle. They're going to try and push in this wave, look towards the early dragons, and find ways to, even though they don't have a lot of places they can make plays around, still find these advantages off of the priorities that have been set in their side lanes versus the non-priority in their mid lane.
And before we get this first skirmish potentially over the dragon, right, SofM is down this way, as well as Leyan is in his side of the jungle down towards the dragon. Don't know if it's going to happen immediately, but I do want to set up at least for, you know, those early win conditions in these fights, right? When you're looking at these 3v3s, 4v4s, even with the TPs, the early 5v5s, as we come a little bit later on, how do you look for both these teams? Because there's a lot that can go right and a lot that can go wrong, but the bar of execution for both of them is pretty high.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to come down to like individual skill. And
exactly.
One of the guys that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on is FoFo, because he's been absolutely phenomenal. Like, he's been an insanely strong mid laner, honestly, since last split as well. But the dude on Akali needs to be able to get onto Huanfeng. And one of the the benefits that we've seen of an Akali is that like she can dive into the backline, force out an early arcane shift from Huanfeng, and then follow up with the perfect execution. But bot side here,
will be spotted out by the ward, so not going to fully commit there, but is down here just in case he wants to start up the dragon, as the backs do come through from the bot lane of iBoy and Hung, but it looks like it's not going to be started up just yet. SofM looking for the other side of the map.
Yeah, so I want to go back to that point though, because we're kind of saying, hey, look, FoFo can have this execution, but it'll be matched by Angel, right? Angel's going to be a monster in these fights. You got to be so careful as iBoy for things like Bin, Angel, and SofM leaping in on top of you. So it's definitely a very hot dive-centric composition from Suning that is looking to fish out picks on iBoy. But if you can get to the later portion of the game, Cube going to be massive, iBoy going to be huge, and especially if he goes Immortal Shield Bow, should help iBoy in surviving a lot of these early aggressions.
Kind of interesting. RA getting the map movement from the entire team almost to help out get that Rift Herald, the early objective secured before our first dragon of the game. Very interested in that one. But now the question is, where can you use that as Leyan? Are you able to get pressure anywhere? Because it seems besides bot lane, you're not really able to generate that pressure that you want. And SofM is out looking. He is hunting, and it looks like Cube might be his first target here, but not going to go ahead and get the slingshot as Leyan is right here to follow him up. The 3-talon strike not going to be quick enough.
Yeah, Nerdy able to get onto him, but again, a good job from Leyan here. This is what we talked about, right? He just wants to keep his lane safe. They like to take these extended laning phases as RA, because you can see bot side, massive CS lead going over in favor of iBoy. You look at the mid lane, even FoFo is like, hey, you know, not the best of matchups. He's got a nice CS lead for himself. So if you extend these out, you end up in a situation where RA come out into the mid game already with a slight gold lead. You can see about 500 there for themselves. And they use that then with their great objective control to take over games. And Suning right now, with this slow-paced early game, feels like they're playing into the hands of RA.
It does, and that's not exactly what you want for Suning, but I still think that there's a lot of potential in those team fights, right? You have Angel on this Lee Sin. That Dragon Rage kick is going to be huge for getting separation on some of these pieces, right? And SofM's engagements, those are also going to be huge. How can you pick apart these fights against RA for Suning? Because that's how your pieces kind of align, right? You're getting the consistent damage from Huanfeng in the back with the mystic shots, but you've also got a lot of buttons to go forward, right? A lot of things to press forward onto RA's comp.
Yeah, you just need to be super careful, right? Because if you end up lining up as Suning, it's like, cool, here's needlework through 4 of you, 5 of you, just wrecking you in these team fights. Leyan being able to buy a lot of space with this Crescent Guard as well, like being able to get space for iBoy, stop the dive potential that is coming through on Suning. But bot side,
Gravitum is available, does get the double root. The death sentence lands. Is this finally first blood? 11 minutes in, it's RA who pick it up.
And it's such a nice play from RA. We talked about, hey, you got push on side lanes, get the Rift Herald, get the Dragon. They make the play on bot side with iBoy, and this is so much gold going into this aphelios. iBoy is going to be so happy. I mean, look at the gold on the left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah.
He's 2,000 gold up on his counterpart.
It's 11 minutes in, dude. Like, oh my God, iBoy's putting on a clinic right now. But I will say, you gotta be careful. Because as I was saying earlier, a lot of pick out potential from the side of Suning, a lot of pick apart potential for the side of Suning. And as this aphelios, you have to be careful of your positioning in the fights.
Yeah, and you can see why, like, this aphelios Thresh combo, great for disengage, but phenomenal in the engage tools as well, because you set up so well for these picks. An easy secure for Leyan, even flashing forward to make sure that he could get the damage there. But either way, death reigns on Suning's bot lane. RA now full control of this map, and they're just going to continue to play around iBoy. He's the strongest portion of the map, so rotate him topside, start to move Leyan up here as well, look for some potential plays before Suning have actually reacted to this rotation.
The reactions are what I want to hone in on, right? Because I think that has been such an interesting thing to look at tonight in the game specifically, but now in this game as well, because RA have a lot going for them here, but it's about that proactivity, right? And you can continue to press this up with FoFo on the Akali. Leyan on this Zhao is huge as well, having hit that mythic item spike. But can you utilize this, and can you be able to kind of get this early little advantage you've gotten, snowballing even more, right? How much resources can you put into iBoy's pocket is the biggest question.
Well, I mean, Suning are kind of just handed it to him.
They did.
He just got 2 more turret plates, nearly a third off that as well. So that's 7, nearly 8 turret plates that have already gone across to this aphelios. He's actually just resetting because his co popped. Might as well get that one out of the inventory as well. Like, he's got the zeal already for this Ruden's Hurricane. iBoy's massive.
He really is.
You like, the game plan from RA, screw FoFo, screw everything else. Just sit on iBoy. This is protect the president. Flays, hooks, crescent guards, whatever the hell you need. I mean, figure out a way to put the Hollow Mist on him as well. Just protect iBoy. And that's how RA win this game.
Literally the gold lead personified is iBoy right now. Like, you have small advantages everywhere else, but iBoy's getting huge. He's also got blue buff. That's how much they're putting the resources in this dude's pockets.
It's like, yes, master, please take more.
Please
It doesn't
take anything
matter,
you
just
want.
whatever it is. Yeah, they just want to make sure they can win. And look, this is, as we said, this is the game plan for RA, right? It's win through laning phases, and we have this extended laning phase, and RA are smacking Suning. They are playing this map so much better. Now, more turret plates, chakrams to make sure he can get through the last of this, and Huanfeng is a slight bit behind in the spot lane. There's a talk a lot of like, yeah, you know, item spikes coming through for Ezreal, they're nice and cheap, he can hit them nice and early. No. iBoy is way more relevant than you are, especially like Runa's Hurricane. You more than likely have this Infinity Edge as well completed before you have the Manamune done, and you're already like you've just lost all of the aggression that Huanfeng offers over in aphelios.
All I'm saying is it ain't no Trinity Force Ezreal this time around. I think you'll be opting into the more defensive build, as you see almost 1,500 gold, 1,000 of it in iBoy's pocket from turret plates.
The dude's huge. I mean, look, 7,500 gold versus anyone on Suning is like, the highest is 5,100 from both solo laners. Like, he has so far escalated beyond where he needs to be. It's insane. And now, RA, they're going to get more for him, right? You've just got Rift Herald. Now you just put that mid. You get another turret for yourself off of iBoy whenever you really want to. And there's a dragon in 30 seconds as well. So you have a bunch of objectives now that you can fight towards as RA. And Suning, they've done nothing, right? It's been just a sleeping lion right now this entire game long.
Just hitting the snooze button a couple too many times. We do have the change up of lane assignments here as we see Angel backing. Maybe he'll be able to reset some of this, but Ben is going up against FoFo in that top lane, and the fighting is afoot, at least in mid, because we've got multiple members from both sides positioning around this area. We have the Infernal Dragon on the board here. Would be second dragon of the game for RA, or the first to tie it up for Suning, as they need to be finding some objectives if they can, but the confidence just isn't there at the moment. The gold league just isn't there at the moment, Dagda.
They need to find a pick on iBoy.
Oh, there we go. They got it. That's beautiful. No! Okay, he dies eventually. Huanfeng is able to get down. I was about to say there's no way he gets out, but Leyan is able to get the dragon. This is a big secure, at least for the dragon, stacking aspect into this Ocean Soul that we see.
I mean, I don't know what iBoy was thinking. He just
I don't know either.
Like, they're on dragon, and he just walks into 4 people, and it's like, well, I don't know why you're surprised. Like, there's only so much the Secret Service could do in this situation. And if you're not going to stay with them, it's kind of done for. So, iBoy falls. That's going to be a good bit of a shutdown going across as well. Like, this was way too far forward. Really good job from SofM, by the way. Like, heads up to just catch the ward, catch onto iBoy. And you can see the CC chain is just way too high. Final auto attack from Huanfeng finishes him off. And, yeah, I mean, not pretty from iBoy.
Not pretty. Even when you're set up like this, things can still go wrong. That's what I said earlier. You got to watch out for the positioning. Sometimes can be a little bit questionable on these ADCs because things can go so dire so quickly. The life of an ADC, right, Dagda? But Angel v Cube in the bot lane right now. We'll see that matchup come back, as very interested to see where Suning can find their first tower of the game, as they've almost lost all their outer towers and they still got to deal with the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and you can see they're trying desperately to say, hey, look, let's just overload this mid lane. Make sure we got 3 people here to try and keep that. But it's opening up Leyan to start threatening off towards side lanes. You can see thinking about a dive towards bidding that top side. They can try and make something happen on this bottom lane as well. And at any point in time, if you try and counteract the plays that Leyan's making in side lanes, he just casually walks back mid, plunks down this Rift Herald, and you could lose that mid lane turret.
Not what you want to do. That mid lane tower would mean so much for RA, specifically around those objectives, continuing to stack these up. You've got 3 minutes for the next dragon to come up, and I would expect that this Rift Herald is going to be utilized here pretty quickly, I would think, because it's starting to come up to that cooldown. You might lose it, but I would want to see if they still want to try and focus getting that gold into iBoy.
At this stage, like, you just need the Infinity Edge complete onto iBoy, and he's massive, but... Or actually looking for an escape.
My Vigil just comes out to dissuade any follow-up from Suning there. Could have pulled the trigger on the Gravitum at any moment there. Stop them in their tracks. We do get the Rift Herald finally in mid lane, but it's going to be a disco party here for RA as they've brought every member down this way. Gonna get one charge off of that second Rift Herald. Will be Shirley, as known in the LCK, but it is very, very rough to siege down right now. I feel like they had all the members there, but they didn't want to fully commit to that one.
And yeah, that was the big problem. They had all the members there. Like, they didn't have the side lane push
Exactly.
going. FoFo and Cube had already started to rotate down for the blue buff contest. So Sunny already in a position to stop the turret take. Now, the Rift Tower was about to time out. I don't really blame Leyan for tossing it down there. Just unfortunate they couldn't have the map set up. But
yeah.
I do want to see RA going back to this 1-3-1 stall. Like, you have iBoy that's massive right now. Just try to shove in these waves to the tier 2 and try to then move FoFo or Cube into a position where you can try and collapse, because with how low that tower is, if you end up catching Huanfeng or even on underneath the turret, you can very quickly kill them, finish off the turret, and litter the Suning side of the jungle with wards.
I'm still looking for those executions in the fights for Suning. There hasn't really been a good setup, right? You got the pick onto iBoy to even up the kills 1-to-1 at 20 minutes. My goodness, this might be the lowest kills I've gotten all summer. But you know what? It's fine. We're building up for the momentum in the late game, for those crazy 5-on-5 team fights. It's going to be wonderful. I feel it. But right now, you know, you still have a decent lead. You still have a 4,000 gold lead, sub 20 minutes for RA, but it's how you utilize that. And we haven't really seen anything recently because of the catch out for against iBoy, right? It kind of puts a little chink into the confidence of RA when they approach these fights, because you cannot let iBoy get caught out. You have to peel for the aphelios or your team fight's not going to look as great.
And I agree, and I think this is where we're going to see this next fight is going to be super crucial. This is like the turning point of this game. 40 seconds until the dragon. If iBoy is able to stay safe, he can take over these fights. If you end up in a situation where iBoy gets destroyed with the dive potential on Suning, it doesn't feel like you have a huge amount in the bank left to try and carry the rest of the fight. Cube still needs his cosmic drive. FoFo only sitting on a singular item, working towards the Merlonomicon. So iBoy is the team fight here for Rare Atom. So if Sunny can get on top of them, they can turn that fight in their favor.
They have a lot of tools to get on top of them, as we've seen multiple times here, but it's ever so closer to that crazy engage. Leyan, that sentence to get away from that one. Just wanted to take the initial engage. Cube is here as well. You have everybody collapsing and a dragon spawning on the board. This is sole point for RA if they want to take it, but Suning do not want to let that happen. They don't want to give up the pressure that can be given or gained with a sole point, but the death sentence lands beautifully on SofM. They're just going for it here. Moonlight Vigil may miss, but you're going to get 2 kills anyways, and RA have found it yet again.
And Hung sets it up beautifully. The death sentence buys that space for RA, buys the team fight, and now Dragon goes their way. 3 dragons just like that, 21 minutes into this game, and pings galore towards the Baron, Mazel.
The big purple worm looks to be going down to RA, the other purple worm apparently. As they're looking for the Baron. It's already started up, but TPs are coming in from Suning. Again, another objective they do not want to let go. Ben, Angel, Huanfeng are here. Baron at half health. Angel goes in early. True Shot Barrage comes out as well. Ben is now in the fight, but can they get the Baron? There's no chance with no jungler, and it's taken by Leyan. They're gonna head for the hills this time. We see them execute it, and they get out alive.
And there's nothing that Suning can do. They had to try and find the fight, but the coordination wasn't quite there. Too many of their ultimates were used in that previous fight, so Suning can't try and contest. But we're gonna watch here, like, this hook from Hung was perfect. Straight onto SofM, the jungler, and you think, hey, SofM is gonna be kind of tanky, but look at the damage that's coming through from iBoy. They just shred him. He's so low before this fight even kicks off, and they just finish off 2 members of Suning just like that.
Really hard when you have the link that RA have, right? Leyan was going full in, but he was getting followed up with because of the mobility and the range that the rest of RA have, and it's just working out so beautifully. Right now you have 2 kills on Leyan. Yes, usually the facilitator for his lanes, but in this game, particularly with that Xin Zhao, with the Crescent Guard, can be huge and very detrimental to Suning's composition when they're looking for those damage profiles. As SofM gets caught out yet again. Angel finds Leyan on the side here, but he's going to be taken up by the 3-talon strike. Moonlight Vigil comes out, but a nice arcane shift is going to get him away. Angel goes in for a trade. iBoy's going to get himself another kill, and you'll take that trade all day long.
Yeah, mid for support. Hell yeah, that's great for Ore. Now they look towards the mid lane. FoFo, he's in behind. iBoy is 3 items strong. Aphelios at 23 minutes has an affinity edge. This guy is so far accelerated, it's insane, and it's why Ore are playing so loose around these fights. They know that as long as iBoy is there, there's little that Suning can do.
Wind becomes lightning, starts off the engage, but not gonna find the follow-up there. FoFo pushing the side lane on tier 2 now with Angel down. There's no response. And as you said, iBoy is just a threat to be reckoned with in the mid lane. RA are just busting down Suning's base without any response, and FoFo gets himself even more gold.
I mean, they've got the Baron buff. They had the lane advantage just because Angel died for the support. So FoFo gets bot lane turret. They get the mid lane turret. And now you're really starting to put the pressure on towards Suning because in 2 minutes time, that Ocean Soul is coming up. You have an Aphelios who's fed to all hell. You're looking at FoFo, who's going to have that, the potential Zhonya's completed, but at least have that stopwatch himself to make sure he can cause threats towards Huanfeng in the back line. And there's so much peel between Leyan and Hung for iBoy. This dive composition is starting to fall apart at the seams.
They've got to find a ticket in here, as Suning have been slowly but surely being bled out of this game. And as you said, about a minute and a half till that objective comes up, you got to expect they've got to position around there early to get the vision down, to set themselves up, because every time it seems like they're just not set up for the fight that they want. And that was something we highlighted earlier, right? It's about the execution on the comp. It's about picking apart the side of RA. But when you're down so far, it's almost impossible to do so. And especially when iBoy himself has like a 4,000 gold lead over Huanfeng, and there's just not enough damage coming out from the Ezreal.
Yeah, and although I like the idea of the composition for Suning, it just never really had a chance of fighting back. We saw SofM try to make a couple of plays across the map, but was always caught in contact with Leyan, and the Zac isn't working out.
Speaking of contact with Leyan, he's getting everybody thrown his way as the Dark Passage get out, but look at all the wards on top of it. He's still in the thick of it, but he's still alive. The Stairs Gauge gets popped, and that's SofM going down. No bloblets to save you today. This is 5-2 for RA. You thought you got Leyan, but you didn't.
They end up getting SofM, and that's 30 seconds until SofM is back, right as Dragon spawns. It takes him time to get there, so Suning have now got to face a 4 versus 5 fight in the pit at Dragon. Otherwise, they will lose the Ocean Soul, because Aphelios, he's going to shred it.
And the siege potential gets so much worse if this composition gets this Ocean Soul. So you see Suning are pushing up into their side of the jungle. They want to get ready for this, but it doesn't matter because RA say it's time to fight. It's time to fight. Moonlight Vigil comes out, getting a kill for iBoy, and it's all we've seen all game long. RA do not give up. They continue to put the pedal to the metal, and Suning are on the wrong end of the train for that one. It's another dragon yet again given over to RA, the soul given over to RA, and a 10,000 gold lead to RA.
I don't even think Suning are on the train right now. I think it's gone. Like it's
station.
Entirely out of the station.
People are like running after, like, I swear I got a ticket.
They've like rode up to the door and it's just closed in their face. The nose has got caught in the door. It's like, this. Look, everything we've done is just done for. Like, yeah, Leyan, like Crescent Guard keeping him alive. You don't have the burst damage to deal anything. He flashes away. Stairs Gauge keeps him nice and healthy as well. And then SofM, the tankiest member on Suning, is just left there going, hang on lads, how did we not even finish one of them off? And unfortunately for Suning, this is what we're kind of talking about, right? Yep. This Zac pick hasn't worked out. Yes, it is great when you can get these early ganks off, but he never had the opportunity because losing bot side, losing top side, the only place was mid, and it's so difficult to gank FoFo in this Akali that he never gets a chance. Now we're getting to team fights, but RA have already run away with the early game, so Zac is just irrelevant.
And to be honest, I feel like that fight was a perfect representation of SofM trying to get the team on the train. He tried, he got Leyan. He's like, guys, we got him. Oh, no, we don't got him. Crescent Guard, Stairs Gauge, all that comes out, and all the peel comes out. And I honestly think Hung has had an incredible incredible performance on the Thresh. We'll see if he can do so again. SofM goes for the engage, but again, he is just brought down afterwards. Maybe he doesn't go down. Look at the beautiful kick on the side.
Oh.
No, Angel goes down anyways, and now FoFo is in everybody. They haven't even gotten one. Dagda, what do you do when you throw everything at the wall and nothing sticks?
You hit the enter button, you go /FF. If you ever end up in a
Rip the
position
dream,
like
baby.
this, /FF, because all right, they're taking this one home.
Yeah, there's no way you can come back from this. You're getting a 1v1 on the side. Hung, the supportal combat, he can't take Ben, but Ben has lost his base, so what do you get from it? RA come out swinging in game number 1.
So well played from Rare, awesome. And this was actually the biggest fear for me for Suning coming into this game. We get the Suning that doesn't have an early game pace, lets themselves be dictated by RA, and we get FoFo coming out with advantages in the mid lane. We get iBoy. Like, advantage doesn't do justice how far this guy was ahead. And from that point forward, they just didn't have a fight. Like, Ezreal had only just completed his 2 items, and there's a bloody Infinity Edge on this aphelios. Like, there was just no hope for them to find these team fights. And look, one mistake from iBoy, yes. But after that, he stuck really close to the hog. Stuck by Leyan. Yeah, and was just like, he's not ever going to get picked again.
Yeah, it's just so crazy how this game went out. And you can see in the gold graph, like, it's completely present on what happened in this game. But for me, I was talking about Suning maybe losing steam in the later parts of the game. There was no steam to be had in this game. And so I feel like going into game 2, you've got to find that thing that's going to bring you forward, right? And SofM playing the more aggressive junglers, the picks that can set himself up and not necessarily the lanes are what I want to look at for them, because I think that this Zac pick, as you were stating, good specifically into specific things, but as a whole, not able to get what you wanted for Suning, and you just don't develop the pace that you wanted, the pace that we know Suning can succeed with early on.
And even in draft, we're saying, hey, look, I didn't want to see this Zac.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Lee Sin go jungle. I wanted to see a Jace come in for being in the top lane. Give themselves a guaranteed place to play around, right? And you can actually very quickly work through this Gwen, have that Lee Sin play there, and you give yourself a guaranteed point of, this is where we put our aggression. It felt like in this game, Suning just never really found that opportunity. Leyan counteracted a lot of the plays we had towards top side, and just with the stronger jungle matchup, Suning just couldn't get anything rolling.
Game plans we set out kind of changed a little bit as we go through, but that's what I wanted to see. How does this best of 3 meta complete as we get on into week number 9? But we got to take a little break, cool down from that crazy RA favored game, and we got to come right back to it with Suning's answer for game number 2. We'll be right back.